Good morning to ENISA's new podcast on artificial intelligence. My name is Anna Sarri. I'm a cybersecurity officer within the awareness raising and education team of the European Union Agency for Cybersecurity. And today's podcast deals with raising awareness on the topic of cybersecurity for artificial intelligence. We have today with us three ladies, Suzanne Dechmel, who is a member of Bitkom's executive board since October 2014, where she's responsible for the legal and security business unit and the topic of artificial intelligence. She's a member of Enquete Commission of the German Bundestag Artificial Intelligence, Social Responsibility and Economic, Social and Ecological Potential. She also represents the business community on the Expert Council for Consumer Affairs of the Federal Ministry of Justice and Consumer Protection and is on the Data Protection Advisory Board of Deutsche Telekom. Hello, Suzanne.
Hello, everybody. Great to be here.
It's nice to have you with us. We also have with us Monika Adamczyk, who works as a cybersecurity expert at the European Union Agency for Cybersecurity in Athens, where she focuses on cybersecurity and privacy of emerging technologies, including artificial intelligence. Prior to joining ENISA, she worked in Poland as a data protection expert and a DPO and contributed to the work of the European Data Protection Board Technology Subgroup. Hello, Monika.
Hello, Anna. It's a pleasure to be part of this podcast.
Thank you, Monika. And we also have with us Corina Pascu, who is also a cybersecurity expert within ENISA in Athens, who covers cybersecurity certification and cybersecurity research and innovation. Prior to her assignment at ENISA, Corina worked with the European Commission Directorate General Research and Innovation, where she was a member of the Artificial Intelligence Task Force. Hi, Corina.
Hello, everyone, and it's a pleasure for being here today. Thank you.
Thank you, Corina. It's nice to have you in our podcast. And I will start the discussion with Suzanne. I have two questions for Suzanne. First of all, you are an association promoting digitalization in Germany. How do digitalization and cybersecurity interplay? Suzanne?
Well, I think digitization and cybersecurity are actually two sides of the same coin. Although one could call the pace of digitization in Germany rather sluggish, we are digitalizing more and more processes in offices, on shop floors, and finally also in the public administration and in daily life of people. So to the extent that processes and products become digital, they also need to be secured against cybersecurity threats. So in Germany, Bitkom and BSI, the Cybersecurity Agency of Germany, we recommend that companies earmark around 15 to 20% of their IT budget for IT security. Statistically, our last study found that German companies de facto spend only 9% on this. So the gap vividly shows that still too little money is spent on cybersecurity. So as funds are channeled and released at management level, I think we really need to consider cybersecurity as a management task that comes together with other digitization tasks. And so we really need to promote this with small and medium-sized enterprises, especially. And nevertheless, we have actually in Germany, we have an excellent starting position as when it comes to IT and cybersecurity. Our research is strong and among the international leaders, and we have very innovative domestic IT security companies. So we really need to take advantage of this.
Indeed. And do you think that artificial intelligence can be an answer to the lack of, let's say, skilled IT security workers in small and medium-sized enterprises?
Well, I think that there are two dimensions when it comes to cybersecurity and AI. Like first, AI opens up new possibilities when it comes to cyber attacks and also with regards to defenses against digital threats. So you can automate attacks on the one hand side. Phishing gets a lot more sophisticated with the help of deep fakes, for example. But AI also provides additional tools to have better cybersecurity measures and to support people which may lack dedicated cybersecurity skills in daily life to safeguard against attacks from the outside. So there, the functioning of artificial intelligence introduces new options, I think.
Okay, and I want to ask Monika. Monika, what is the relation between cybersecurity and artificial intelligence?
Anna, so partially Suzanne has already answered this question because she already mentioned about the fact that it is possible to use AI for nefarious purposes, for basically generating cyber attacks by cyber criminals. And she also mentioned the fact that AI could she also mentioned that AI could be used for automation of the cybersecurity operations. So I will not focus on this, but I'd like to also mention the fact that any AI system needs to be secured, needs to be protected, needs to have the adequate cybersecurity measures, because an AI system is nothing different than an IT system with specialized functionality, with specialized algorithm. And therefore, as other ICT systems, needs to be protected against possible attacks. So that's from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Monika. And Suzanne, from your point of view, what are the dangers of offensive artificial intelligence as a new cybersecurity threat?
Well, when AI is used for malicious purposes, then it's referred to as offensive AI. So instead of a human attacker trying one route after another to enter a network, for example, AI can automate this process and thus save a lot of resources for cyber attackers. But it's not only that speed can be increased like that, but also new forms of attacks are possible, like with deep learning, people can be deceived a lot more effective than before. It's possible to mimic a superior's face and voice for phishing attacks. So it gets a lot harder to support employees to detect such attempts as they become more and more realistic. And other examples of offensive AI include malware creation, password guessing, or fake social media profiles. So offensive AI can help to enhance already existing attacks or expand malicious campaigns. And I think organizations must be aware of these new possibilities and prepare accordingly. They need to leverage AI for the defense against such elaborated cybersecurity threats. And as we already said, like with the help of AI systems, security vulnerabilities can be identified, or attacks can more easily be detected and defended against in a timely manner. So defensive self-learning AI recognizes the normal case in context and anomalies in user behavior. Humans are usually too slow for that, but anomalies can be, for example, an unusual time of the day or an unusual place when logging in, or activities on the computer that seem unusual compared to the previous ones of that respective user. So this is determined by machine learning of user behavior, and the longer the machine learning goes, the easier it becomes to detect inconsistencies. So yeah, this is kind of the interplay of the use of AI on the attacker side on the one hand side, but that can be countered by using it on the defensive side too.
Okay, and Monika, do you think that we need artificial intelligence tailored cybersecurity and privacy measures that would be sufficient enough to ensure trustworthy AI solutions?
Anna, absolutely. Once again, I will try to extend what Suzanne said about the fact that, first of all, machine learning algorithms are self-learning algorithms very often, and therefore adequate security and privacy measures have to be implemented that will deal with this type of implementation of an IT systems. We also have to think about different type of assets that are associated with artificial intelligence. For example, one of the significant assets that is being used in AI is data. And data is one of the components that could be affected by attacks against it. And for that reason, ENISA has been working for the last 2 years on different studies and on basically identifying what is the current AI threat landscape. For anyone who is interested for anyone who is interested on this topic, I would suggest that listener of this podcast goes to the ENISA website and then search for an AI threat landscape that first of all identifies the AI life cycle and all the associated assets that are required for designing and implementing such a system, and then of course for using this for business purposes. A listener can also find another ENISA report that identifies what are specific threats against machine learning algorithms and what possible security and privacy controls should be implemented. And for example, this could be security and privacy controls that protect against data poisoning, against generating untrustworthy decisions, protection against bias output, and so on. So that's why we need specific to AI security and privacy controls.
Thank you very much for this. And okay, Corina, now artificial intelligence is a complicated story. Okay, which artificial intelligence components, be it a model, engine, system, product, do you think would require, let's say, certification?
Well, thank you very much, Anna, for the question. It is indeed a very complicated, but also at the same time, very exciting story. So on one hand, we have AI-powered products that are around us and everywhere. And we also have AI models, which a model is not a product per se, but the use of the outputs of the model can be considered or can become an AI product. We also have AI services, so that make use of the algorithms. And then given this complicated landscape and story at the same time, we can have different types of certification for the certification of AI systems. So for this area in particular, the experts recommend either product certification or a mixture of product and process certification. These two certifications are different in terms of objective, in terms of consideration. So yeah, so this is something we need to consider. And then the process certification is seen as an alternative or a supplement, as I said, to the product certification, looking into the, let's say, the quality of manufacturing or the quality of development or of the implementation process in general. And if you speak about AI, of the implementation of an AI solution in particular. So in general, what the process certification looks into, that the developers, for instance, need to demonstrate that they have done their job and their homework across all the stages of the AI lifecycle, and the security requirements are being met. So this is in a nutshell what is it about this complicated story about.
Okay, and Corina, can you, let's say, add on this why cybersecurity certification an opportunity for trust enhancing?
Yeah, this is very much related to the previous topic. And in general, first, because many of our listeners may not be familiar with this very wide concept as the EU cybersecurity certification scheme. So which is, it boils down to a set of rules, technical cybersecurity requirements, standards, and evaluation procedures. And these necessarily should be defined at the EU level so that we overcome market fragmentation and regulatory barriers. Because we know that different security certification schemes are currently used by different EU countries, and this generate this market fragmentation. And then these certification schemes are applied to the certification specific ICT products, services, and processes. Now, what is it that the user of the solution how they look at these certificates that essentially they give kind of a demonstration or a proof that a specific solution, speaking here of an AI solution in particular, meets some defined security requirement. So that's for the particular case of AI, for instance, certification of AI system, we think that would help to strengthen this trust in technology, in the technology and its use, the application. And by the way, the Commission white paper that was published on AI that was published last 2020 also pointed out to the need for an EU-wide approach to a certification system for AI. So this is why there is more into it. What we're trying to do currently, we're planning to start this an exciting new project, which is looking at what do we need to achieve for this possible AI certification. So we will look what the EU regulatory framework suggests in terms of certification of AI, what would be the subject of certification, as I indicated before, whether it's an ICT product or service or and/or process, what would be the cybersecurity required assurance levels in order to cover the risk. And my colleague spoke before me on number of that, on attacks and also on threats. And we would also need to look what is actually exists. So what is the certification scheme exist already? So the first one will be already, it's about the EUCC Common Criteria Certification Scheme. It is the first that is going to be available. And then we look on the nature of the schemes, who's going to use them, how they can be used for the purpose of an AI cybersecurity scheme. Which are the gaps where these and how to solve them. Some of them can be solved, some of them cannot be solved on short term and probably will have to be tackled in the future. And also looking at the standard, what it exists and what are the gaps in standard that need to, would be necessary to support certification. And that's a very important issue. And also, so these are the numbers of element of this study that hopefully would help us to define possible next steps for the development of the possible AI certification schemes EU-wide, so to speak. Yeah. So we will establish this the next step with the stakeholders, and we will share the results widely. So we will publish this feasibility study. But on that, more to come. Thank you very much for the question.
Thank you, Corina. I have a question for Monika now. Security and privacy controls may negatively affect AI functionality and performance. What is the best way to deal with this problem?
So we all know that the more we secure a system, the bigger chances that the functionality, the intended functionality of such a system will not be performing well because of the protection measures. So, well, this should be very clear to most of the people designing and implementing systems. It is actually important to remind everybody that, first of all, making a decision for new business functionality should always be based on a risk-based approach, meaning that the moment an organization decides to create or use a new AI system or service or an application, they first need to analyze its intended functionality and intended assets that are being used during the operations against potential threats and vulnerabilities. So it is basically important to decide upfront what possible risks are associated with the use, what negative impacts, and how to design and then implement appropriate measures that will protect that systems against those threats and vulnerabilities. And ultimately, once this risk assessment is done, it is necessary to make a decision whether the associated risk is acceptable to allow for such an AI system to operate and function. So basically, the same approach that is done to any other ICT systems, a risk-based approach, taking into account privacy and data protection and security from the beginning, meaning security by design, privacy by design, is the right approach to find the best balance between the functionality and security and privacy. So that's from me, Anna. Thank you.
Thank you, Monika. And one last question to Corina. Corina, certification of AI systems has to be performed against the application context. When do you think AI certification may not be needed?
I think it's very important to choose the level of certification to maintain a good balance between regulation on one hand and not to kill the innovative potential on the other hand. So as a matter of fact, not every AI system would require certification. So we need, in order to proceed with the successful certification of AI system, we need to make a distinction between the use cases, what I call the application context, the use cases in which certification is necessary and needed, and those in which there is no need for independent third-party verification of conformity, which is essentially what certification is about. So, for instance, certification will not be necessary for every AI system against the application, depending on the application context. And here we can, let's say, for instance, talk about manipulated data or the business case or deployment of application. But this must be considered, all these, let's say, contexts to assess the risk, as also Monika explained before, and prioritize the deployment of security measures accordingly. So what are the need for the certification of AI system? It is that can be derived, we need to look at the AI system criticality in a specific context of its application. So for instance, and this extent of criticality would indicate to us possible needs for regulation. So for instance, the Commission a draft proposal for the AI regulation, what it's there included in a proposal, it is a risk-based approach. So distinguishing between different types of AI technologies, and this the criticality is on 3 levels, namely low, high criticality, and unacceptable risk technology. So this is, I think, a very important approach. And then also, because I mentioned before data, the next frontier for data security is about protecting data, because without data, an AI system cannot function properly. So then we need to look into that and how to best defend against possible threats against data, like data poisoning. And here we can have, for instance, approaches like pen testing or any other types of security testing that would lead to finding vulnerabilities, as also Monika indicated before. Some researchers, for instance, are also considering a second layer of protection designed to catch potential errors in data training. And of course, to finish my plea here and my pledge for protecting data, it's that we need essentially the human intelligence and the human in the loop, so to speak, in order to test this AI algorithm and, checking that let me put it this way, a cow is a cow, is not a horse. So yeah, we need the human in the loops after all, even for the artificial intelligence. Thank you very much for the question, Anna, again.
Thank you very much, Corina. Thank you all of you for participating in this podcast on artificial intelligence. In order to close this podcast, I would like to ask one last statement from each one of you, starting with Suzanne.
Yeah, thank you. Well, I think we heard really a lot on the relation and how to come to a good cybersecurity level for AI, and I think it's really crucial that we have a risk-based approach, and that because it's a new challenge. We see new possibilities of attacks or of faults in AI systems, but at the same time, not all applications do hold the same risk, and so it's really important that we not only have like a horizontal view on things, but also on the application side where an AI system is used, and so that we still keep the certification issues, but also the cybersecurity preparations that everyone who uses such systems and who produces the systems, that we really concentrate them on the bits and parts where the highest attention is necessary and where the highest risks may arise. And I think we have to be aware that cybersecurity will always be a goal that's kind of dynamic and will further develop with the technology itself, and that we always have to improve our cybersecurity skills along with our new digital skills. So that will be from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Monika? Last statement.
What I would add is basically that there is a lot of benefits from different AI solutions that are being developed and continuously improved. And it's absolutely very important that the trustworthy solutions are being made available, and that users of the systems, they understand what it really means to be a trustworthy system, to have an insight into processing of the data that is being used for business solutions, and to make sure that there is a certain level of transparency and human oversight. And in all this functionality of an AI systems, in supporting trustworthiness of the system, supporting transparency and human oversight, cybersecurity and privacy play a very important role, because without them, it is impossible to have good solutions that provide visual benefits to the end users, but at the same time they are being sufficiently protected. So that's from me. Thank you very much for allowing me to participate in this podcast.
Thank you very much, Monika. And Corina, one last statement.
Thank you very much, Anna. So first of all, just I would like to emphasize again the fact that the EU-wide cybersecurity certification, AI cybersecurity certification, will bring a harmonized level of trust across the union, and this is a very important issue here. And then, with respect to the AI. As I indicated, AI, it's a very complicated landscape, but at the same time, we don't even have a commonly accepted definition of AI. So we need to take stock of that and work also on the what we have to certify and what is the level of certification to achieve in order to have this good balance, as I said, between regulation and innovation. Innovation, it is very important, and we all know that Europe is lacking on, in this respect, on the transfer from of innovation onto the market. So we need, whatever we do, we need to choose the right level of certification to ensure this good balance. And then again, working on the context of application, this is very important, and to correctly assess also the risk and prioritize the security measures. And last but not the least is the need for the certification of AI system, taking a view into the criticality of the system. So there we need to look at which are the critical AI system components that need to be certified and what we can do about it. I mean, depending on the, the risk of these technologies, whether they're low, high, or unacceptable risk. And then some of these, let's say, technologies may not be the subject of AI certification. And this is also a case for instance, for the medical devices. But that's another story, maybe for the future, a future podcast on that. Thank you very much, Anna, again.
Thank you very much, Corina, and thank you all for participating in this podcast. Three main messages that I would like that I took from this podcast. First of all, it's very crucial to have a risk-based approach towards AI. We need to create trustworthy systems for businesses, that they are transparent and that they have the human oversight as well. And also that we need to have a certification in order to have a harmonized level of trust across the European Union. Again, thank you so much for participating in this podcast, and hopefully we will have the chance to have another discussion on another ENISA podcast. Have a good day to all.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.